Thank you, Omkar, for getting the session live. And a very warm welcome to all of you all. And thank you for taking out the time to attend this particular webinar. We're really excited to take you through the launch of the equity and the FnO onto our IR platform. We have with us Sonali Palande, who is a product manager at HDFC Securities for futures and options, and she will be taking us through the basic understanding of equity and FNO. We also have a session where she will take you through the IR platform on how you would want to go ahead and place orders. This will be quite an interactive session. So anybody wanting to ask questions, please put in your questions in the chat box. We'll take it at the end of the session. So we will also show you a mobile demo on how to place an order, the IR platform on how to place the order. So Sonali, over to you.
Yeah, just a second. I'll just share my screen.
Yeah.
Is it visible?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So thank you so much for the introduction of the webinar and myself as well. So hi everybody, and today in this session we are going to learn all the basics about equity FnO. What is the difference? What you're entitled to when you place the orders for equity, when you do it for FnO and everything. Okay, so all the basic difference understandings, and we will also go to the platform and look at the platform in the live market. How do we do it for equity and FnO both? All right, so equity easy because whenever we place the orders for any of the shares, when we buy the shares of any of the company, what do we what are we are the shareholders. When we get the delivery of those shares, we are actually the stakeholders in that company. Yeah, right. It can be the proportion based on how much quantity you hold, or how much is your percentage, but then you are the shareholder, you are the stakeholder of that company, right? And you are entitled to all the benefits that the company pass on to the shareholders, right? And when it comes to the FnO, it's a bit different. So we will see equity. I don't think I have to go in very much detail because we are all aware about the equity part, but I'll also compare it with the FnO and we will see it from that perspective. Okay, so before going forward, I'll just read this disclaimer for you all. The content and explanation shared in this webinar are only for information and educational purpose. Stock market trading investments are subject to market risk. Please consult your financial advisor before making financial decisions. So we are all set. Just for the better quality, because I'm facing a little bit of problem in the internet, I'll switch off the video because I mean the audio should be clear at least. So I'll take you forward now. So first, I'll introduce all of you what are derivatives. Okay, so if we understand equity, right? So derivatives are, when we talk about the word derivatives, we can understand that something is derived based on the underlying. So when we say underlying, so underlying is your equity share. Okay, or it can be even commodity, or it can be anything. Whatever derivatives that we are referring to, there has to be an underlying entity as well. Okay, so if we talk about some shares, so on the screen you can see one example, okay, of the TCS share. So if you can see this particular TCS share that is added, it is the underlying entity. And if you can see these two contracts, you can see the TCS call option and TCS future, right? So these two are the derivatives. And why these are derivatives is because whenever this underlying entity's price will be changing, okay, depending on that change, these two contracts price will be changing. Understood now why it is called as derivatives? Because it is totally dependent on the underlying entity's movement. All right, so this is the basic understanding of the derivatives. Now, why do we basically participate into the derivatives? Equity, we have the motive clear, right? We we do it for the long term investment, we do it for wealth creation and everything, right? But then why derivatives? Because this is something new to everybody, correct? So first thing, leverage part. Why? Because we get something called as margin when we trade into the derivatives. I'll come to that concept later, but right now just understand that with a very limited part of capital, we can participate into a bigger chunk of position in terms of the derivatives. Then the hedging, of course, we all understand. So let's say that you are not a trader, all right, you don't want to trade into derivatives, but you must have had your portfolio, correct, investment portfolio. So when, especially now, there is so much uncertainty into the global markets, even politically there is a lot of tension going on right now, so we don't know what can happen. One bad news and the market can go negative. So from such incidences, we can actually protect our investment portfolio. Now, how do we protect? We have to hedge it from the derivatives tools. Okay, so this is the biggest and this is the most holistic use of the derivatives. Then the diversification. So we have multiple options. We can trade into futures, options, and we can, make combinations. We can make strategies, everything. So there's a lot of diversification and flexibility into that. And as I told you about the leverage, it is cost efficient. And, there are some strategies which can generate the income. For example, if you have the portfolio and if you adopt some strategies like covered call like that, so it can be an added advantage to your portfolio for the income generation. All right, now I'll give you a basic understanding of futures, and then we will go towards the comparison of equity and FnO. So first of all, if you understand equity, the futures contract is like little bit improvisation of that with some specifications like lot size or expiry date. So just to mention over here, all the FnO contracts, be it futures or be it options, everything is going to have the expiry date to it. Okay, into equity, when we buy the stocks, or when we when we participate into equity, there is no expiry date. You can carry forward the stocks that you have of that company to whatever period that you want, correct? But for the futures and options, there is this limitation of the expiry date. So you have to act before that expiry date, otherwise it turns out to the settlement. Okay, so that's a later period, the later part. Now, if you can see on my screen, at a time you can have three contracts into the futures. Okay, so if you are seeing on the screen, it is July 24, I mean Reliance 25th July contract, Reliance 29th August contract, and Reliance 26th September contract. So right now in NSE we have the last Thursday as the expiry for the month, so that is why these dates are different, and three monthly contracts. So we call it as near month, mid month, and far month contracts. Okay, so at a time we get three contracts open, so you can participate into any of the three. Now let's go towards the comparison. Okay, so we all understood the meaning. What is the basic understanding of equity? I mean the cash market and the futures market. Okay, what is the purpose when we participate into the cash market, which is nothing but equity? We do it for the investment purpose, and for here into the futures, we do it for trading or arbitrage or the hedging purpose, right? And when we take the equity, we get the delivery into our demat accounts, right? But when we buy the futures or even options, we don't get any delivery. Okay, we if we decide to exercise that particular contract, then it turns out to be a delivery. Okay, based on what kind of contract you're holding, if you're eligible to take the delivery or if you're eligible to give the delivery. But before the expiry date, you are not entitled to get any of the delivery just because you purchase any contract of FnO. Then the lot size. So when it comes to the equity, there is no specific lot size, right? You can buy just one share. So आज अगर आपको रिलायंस का इक्विटी खरीदना है, तो आप एक शेयर भी खरीद सकते हो, या आपको अगर 5,000 शेयर खरीदने हैं वो भी आप कर सकते हो. It totally depends on you. Or you can even go for any odd amount, right? Any odd quantity. But for futures and options, we have to stick to the lot size. Every contract is going to have a specific lot size. All right, for example, Nifty has 75, or Bank Nifty has 30, or the stock options and futures are going to have different lot sizes, right? So we have to stick to that. And when we buy the equity, we have to pay the full amount, because we are anyway going to get the delivery. So it's like we are paying the full amount, we are taking the delivery, okay? But into futures and options, we have to just pay the margin, okay? And if we are away from the expiry, the margin amount is going to be lower. If we are going towards the expiry, of course the margin amount is going to be increased, because at the when the expiry happens, if you do not close it, it will be a delivery conversion. So at the time of expiry, your margin will be higher, of course. Then the holding period, as we all know by now, that into equity there is no specific period. We can hold it for any, even for 2 days, even for a month, even for 20 years, whatever period. But into FnO, the expiry period is the that is the maximum period you can hold it, right? After the expiry, there is no meaning to that contract. And as I told you, that whatever benefits that company decides to pass on to the shareholders, you're entitled if you have the equity of that company, right? So let's say, for example, dividends. So if the dividends are declared, if you hold the equity of that particular company, you are entitled to get that. But even if you hold any FnO contract of that company, you are still not entitled to the dividends, okay? Because you are not a stakeholder into that company, right? You are just a you're just a temporary participant for that company, and of course the equity holder holds more importance for the company. So this is about the comparison. So by now we have understood the comparison between futures and cash, equity and FnO, right? So we know that there is a lot of limitation, or there are a lot of rules when it comes to the FnO. And into the equity market, it's all free, it all depends on you, how much quantity, how much period, right? So then if you have to choose between equity and FnO, why some people still go for FnO, and why some people still go for cash? So there has to be some reasoning behind choosing a particular tool, right? So cash market, or the people who go for equity, they basically have the investment in mind, right? But the people who have a very short term momentum expected in particular contract, right, they prefer to go for the FnO. Why? Because I'll tell you the reason. So let's take one example over here, okay, of Reliance, right? So let's say that the user here has a very short-term understanding or short-term expectation of a price momentum in Reliance, right? Now, in cash also, we have taken the price as 3160, both the sides, the quantity as 250, because it's going to be a lot size on the future side, right? Now, my cost on the cash market, if I have to buy the equity, what is going to be my cost is 7,90,000, right? And what is going to be on the future side, it will be 1,36,940. Why? I'll tell you later, okay? But right now, just understand this. Now let's imagine that the expectation of the user comes into the reality. The price of the stock moves, and from 3160, it moves to 3200, okay? So 40 rupees per share, correct? So my total profit over here is 10,000, right? If I do it for the 250 shares, right? So what is my ROI? It is 1.26%. So it is calculated based on this, correct? 7,90,000 that I had to put when I transacted for this particular stock, right? So my ROI over here is 1.26%. Now on the future side, my selling price is same, my profit per share, my total profit and everything is same, but my ROI is increased as 7.30%. Why? Is because I only put 1,36,940 over here, right? So the difference is how much money you are putting. right? So if I have this amount, I can increase the amount, I mean quantity as well, and of course my ROI will be, my total profit will be increased, right? So this is how, if the traders have very short term expectation in the market for any of the contract, they choose to go with the FnO. All right. And equity is basically for the long term purpose, when the investment has to be done, and the or let's say that the expectation of the price momentum is little bit longer. Okay, so that's how, this is the basic difference between your equity and futures. Now so yeah, let's talk a little bit about the margins as well. So we saw that for the futures we had to pay a very small amount, right? So why very small amount is because, see, when you take the futures and options contract, let's say, if we have taken the futures example over here, so I'll stick to that example. So you don't have to pay the full amount, okay? Because you get something called as, the broker is going to be in that picture, right? And you will get the margin from the broker, okay, to take the participation into that particular contract. All right. So when you pay your part of cost, that will be divided into two parts. Okay, so whatever margin you are paying from your side, that will be divided into two parts: initial margin and exposure margin. Okay, initial margin is upfront amount of money that a trader must deposit to open a position. Okay, so this is like the like what we pay as a token amount when we book any property. So this is the basic, okay, initial margin. And then the exposure margin, it is also known as the maintenance margin. Okay, so this is additional margin required to cover potential losses. So if you know that, if you have ever got the a margin call, so if you have to put extra money to hold your position, this is the margin that goes into the losses. So or your M2M loss in exceeds this particular margin, so that is when your broker will tell you that you need to put additional amount to hold this position, otherwise the broker will cut down. Okay, so this is how your margin is calculated. So we have a margin calculator on HDFC Sec website, and we can actually calculate how much margin we will have to pay, and what is the breakup of the total margin that we are going to pay to participate into that position and everything. Okay, so you can see that this particular, the example that we had taken for Reliance, how it is showing the breakup into the initial and exposure margin. Okay, so when we go towards the expiry, so this is very far from the expiry that we have done the calculation. So for example, if we just have 1 or 2 days left for the expiry, all right, then the margin requirement will be exceeded. Okay, you will have to put in extra money to hold that particular position, because your margin requirement goes up, and on the last day of the expiry, you have to have full money to whatever cost of that particular contract, you have to have that full money as a margin. All right, because the system doesn't know if you are going to close this position before 3:30 or not. If you decide to, let's say this is a long position, so if you decide to take the delivery, you need to have that full amount, right, to take the delivery of those shares, right? So that is the logic when you go near to the expiry. Right, now quickly we will go towards the options, and then we will move towards our live platforms. All right, so what are options? So till now we have seen the futures in detail. Options is little bit you know you can say a little bit more improvised tools, and you have a lot of freedom to choose your actions over here into the options. So when we talk about futures, if you have bullish expectation, you can buy the future contract. If you have bearish expectation, you can sell the future contract, but the same contract, right? Here we have different contracts based on the strike price, right? So here we need to pay a little bit of attention. All right, so first of all, why do we participate into the options? First, as we saw into the futures as well, hedging, right? Then the trading, so there are a lot of full-time traders, there are a lot of even part-time traders who trade into especially options, and they make their living, and then income generation through the strategies like covered call. So when it comes to the options, there are also some of the things that we need to understand. First is the underlying asset. So as we saw into the futures, here also we have the underlying asset. Okay, so if we talk about Nifty's, let's say 25,000 call. Okay, so underlying is Nifty. Understood? So as the Nifty moves, your calls and puts will be moving. All right. Now the type of options, we have the call option and put option. Okay. So it's not just when you are bullish, you buy the call, when you are bearish, you buy the put. It's the general understanding, but there is a deeper, conceptual understanding of call option and put option. So let's say that, so originally the futures and options were not created for trading. They were created for the hedging purpose. Remember? So here the actual meaning of call option is little different. So when you buy a call, you have the right to buy the underlying asset at the strike price. Okay, so when you buy a call, when you expect the price to go up. Okay, so when you decide to take the delivery based on that, after at the time of the expiry, let's say that I have a call option of, let's say, Reliance, okay, at 3,000. I have bought a call option of 3,000 strike price, and I expect the stock to go towards 3,100. Okay, this is just a hypothetical example of price. These are not live prices. So at the time of expiry, if it goes to 3,100, okay, so I as a call buyer, I am entitled to, or I have a right to purchase that particular stock at 3,000 because I hold that contract. Okay, I have paid some premium beforehand to have that right to buy that share at 3,000. Okay, so I don't have to pay the price based on 3,100 LTP. Understood? So the same for put. This is for selling. Okay, so the put option grants the holder the right to sell the underlying asset at a strike price. So you buy a put when you have a bearish overview, right? So when the entity falls down, you can still sell that entity at a higher price because you hold that particular contract and you have paid some premium to hold that, right? So this is the basic understanding. And then the strike price, we all know that when it comes to the options, we have different strike price. Like in Nifty, there is 24,000, 24,100, 24,150, 200, like that. So that is the strike price. Then the expiry date, just like futures, here also we have the expiry date and lot size and the premium. So just like we understood when we get certain rights, when we buy or sell such contracts of call and put. So for that, it's like insurance. Okay, I'm securing the future through these contracts, right? So I have to pay some premium. So that is, so for example, if we have the 25,000 Nifty call option at, let's say, 50 rupees. So 50 rupees is the premium that I'm going to pay to hold that particular position. All right. So these are some of the attributes of the options that we get into the so we have to understand when we talk about options. Now, little bit about buying and selling. So when we see into equity, it's all plain. Either you buy, okay, you wait, the market goes up or the entity goes up, if you want to book that particular profit, you exit from that stocks, you sell those stocks, right? Into futures as well, it's pretty much same, right? It's just that into futures you get both ways action. You can buy it, you can sell it based on the expectation of the direction. Now into options, there is a little bit complex because we have call and put, two options, right? And then buying and selling, correct? So let's understand, as a buyer and as a seller, what do we do, what are the actionable for us? All right, so if I am a buyer and if I have a bullish expectation into the market, I can long a call or I can buy a call. Okay, If I'm a buyer and if I have a bearish expectation into the market, I can long a put or I can buy a put. Okay, this was easy till now, but because option buying is pretty common. Now, what about option selling, or what about the sellers, or something we call as short selling, right? So, what is short selling? Without even buying, when we create a selling position, short position, that is short selling. Okay. So, if I'm a seller and if I have a bullish position, what do? We can short a put. Okay. Which means that when the sellers make profit, they make profit when the premium will go down, right? So when the entity is going up, the puts are going to lose their premium. That is why as a seller I can short a put. Now, if I'm a seller and if I have the bearish expectation, what I can do, I can short a call. Okay, so when the entity is going to fall down, calls are going to lose their premium, right? And as a seller I can make a profit from that momentum, right? So these are the actionables for the buyers and the sellers, right? So here we have understood the basics about the equity, right, and futures and options. Now let's go towards our platform and let's see what all features and what all things that support to these this understanding of equity and F&O, and it can actually help you to start off your journey, and it can actually help you to smooth out your equity and F&O journey. Okay, so when you go on the main web page of HDFC Securities, that is www.hdfcsec.com. Okay, you will see two login buttons. One is this and one is Trader Web. Okay, so this login button, you can, this account you can access for the reports and everything. You will get extensive list of reports over here. Okay, and here Trader Web, you will get extensive set of features. All right, so I'm going to take you over here. Okay, so once you click on Trader Web, we get two ways to enter into the platform. One, you can go through the username, password, and another one is the QR code. Okay, so I'm going to use the QR code as of now. So how do we use the QR code? We have to open our InvestRight app. Okay, and we can actually scan the QR code. Just give me a second, please. Yeah. So y- so I just scanned the QR code from my InvestRight apps scanner that I get on the dashboard on the top bar. Okay, so this is the platform. This is the this is the homepage of the platform. All right. So let's so many things are going to be similar for the equity and F&O users both. Okay, it's just that there are some features which are F&O specific as well, so I'll also show you those features. All right, so first of all, this is the watch list, and you can see a bigger portion to the charts as well. Okay, so whatever type of analysis that you do, if you do it if you trade based on the price action or whatever analysis part you do, you can use the charts over here. You can basically add any of the indicators from here itself. You can use the full screen chart from this icon. Okay, you can do it everything. Now if you want to add or if you want to search some entity, all right, so how do? We basically do it into the watch list. Okay, so let's say we have to find Reliance. Okay, so I search for Reliance. This is Reliance Industries. If I want to add it, I can just click on this ribbon icon and it will be added. All right, so this is the most basic example of how to add some contracts. It will be I've shown you for the equity. It will be same for the F&O contract as well. Okay, the same way you can add any of the F&O contracts. Now when you add something, you get the buy sell buttons. All right, you get the market depth. All right, so this is how you can see what is happening in terms of the bids and ask price. And then you can go to the chart. I just clicked on the chart for Reliance. We can go to the option chain, right? This is the option chain that we have. We can get the different data sets based on LTP, OI, and Greeks, like this. Okay. So this is the option chain. Now, this I can also rearrange. So I've added Reliance, but I want to, always have it on the top. So I can actually move it. Okay, so this is all rearrangeable, right? So now this we have added over here. Now let's say we want to place the order. So let's say I click on buy. Okay, and we get the options to select buy or sell. If you're doing it for intraday, you can actually sell it. Okay, so you can choose the exchange NSE or BSE. Okay, you want to take it for delivery or intraday, you can choose what type of order you want to place. Then you want to place the order of regular or stop loss. Okay, now if you don't understand certain things, you can always go on the eye icon and you can read it. Okay, you can put your quantity over here, you can manually enter the number, or you can make use of these plus minus signs as well. All right, you can, if you want the equity to buy at a certain price, let's say right now it's 1420, but I want to buy it at let's say 1415, I mean, yeah, 1415. Okay, when it comes down, so I can place the limit order as well. Here also I can see the market depth for my convenience. Okay, let's say if I don't want to place it on the limit price, I want to do it on the market price, I can just check this market box and it will go as a market order. All right, so let's say that we are placing a limit order over here. Okay, you can also go for GTD order. Okay, now when this order comes into the picture, let's say that I don't want to place this order somewhere near to the current price. Okay, I have some different expectation. All right, let's say I want to place order at 1200. I don't know when 1200 will come, today, tomorrow, or probably after 2 weeks, I don't know. Okay, so I can have this particular order, GTD order, and I can give the whatever price I want to execute this at. All right, so whenever, so let's say I put 1200. Okay, I can set the date till when this order will be valid. Okay, so by default it will give you a date on the maximum, I mean the last date as per the system it will give you, but if you want to make it shorter, you can do it on this calendar. All right, and you can place this order. So whenever the 1200 will reach, whenever the 1200 price will come as per my criteria, this order will be executed. Okay, if this happens during the period that we have selected. All right, this is the meaning of the GTD order. If you want to do it in equity, you can do it. Okay, and we can basically, so I'm going back, and here you can see what is the required margin, what is the available margin. If you want to place the order, you can do it here. Once you click on buy, here you will get one more option into the order summary page, switch to instant buy or sell for faster orders. So if you switch it on, what will happen next time when you click on this button, your order will be placed directly, you will not get this page. Okay, so one step will be reduced. All right, and once you click on place by order, your order will be placed. Same for FnO. So let's take an example of Nifty 24,500 call. Okay, if you want to buy, you can keep it as buy. If you want to sell, you can do it. Okay, everything remains same, right? And we can place the order. So once we place the order, where does it go? It goes to here, open and closed. If your order is open, it will be shown over here. If it is closed, it will be shown here. If you place the GTD order, it will be shown over here. Okay, because GTD orders का tab अलग है क्योंकि वो positionally open रहते हैं, right? And these open and closed refreshes daily, right? So you can see all the orders over here. Now let's say if you have multiple orders open, and if you want to cancel multiple orders, right? Let's say that you have some of the long orders open, and suddenly market is falling down. So now you want to cancel orders, multiple orders at good speed. right? So you will get, when you have the open orders over here, you will get a cancel orders button. So if you click cancel orders, you can just cancel all orders at once or select multiple orders at once and cancel with just one button. Okay, so no manual selection of one by one. Once you have any of the positions, you can see the open positions over here. All right, and similar, like we had seen for the orders, for the open orders, we can cancel open orders multiple at once. We can also exit multiple positions at once. Okay, when you have the positions open, you get the exit positions over here, and you can select all or multiple as per your preference, and exit it at the market price. Okay, it will be done at the market price. You can also see the P&L based on overall positions and today's positions. All right, overall has all your carried forward plus today's positions. Your today's positions will only show you what you have done today. Okay, to understand it in the when you use it, you can read it on the eye icon, right? And your portfolio, you can see your portfolio over here. So whatever equity holdings that you have, you can see over here, your demat balance, whatever your free quantities are into your demat, you can see it over here. Okay, so this is how you will see your portfolio. If you want to see the portfolio summary and everything, you can have the entry points to chart, option chain and everything. Over here you can buy more or sell from here itself. If you want to go into your holding summary, you can see what the details about your holdings, equity holdings. So your P&L and your average value, what you had invested, what is the current value, what all corporate actions are have happened, your transaction history, whenever you have done anything in that particular holding, it will be shown over here. Okay, so this is about your portfolio. Then you can see your all the limits and everything. You can add funds, withdraw from here, right? So these are all basic pages that you would be navigating through whenever you're going to trade into equity or FnO. Now there are multiple FnO specific features. All right, so we can go over here into the option chain, right? I'm For your convenience, let's go to the Nifty, right? This is Nifty's option chain. I'm not going in too much detail because of the time constraint, but then I'll just take you through some. Okay, you can see the derivative specific page where you can find the technical analysis. You can get the highest traded options, futures, contracts, their OI change, everything. Open interest analysis is a beautiful page that we have created especially for the FnO traders, right? There are multiple options. You can go in so much depth, right? Then the built up, you can see 5 to 15 minute interval built up over here. Constituents about any index, whatever details that you need to have about the index and the constituents of that index, you can get all everything in this constituents page. Okay, then into the analytics, you get the heat map. All right, you can see the overall heat map and the sector wise heat map, FII DI data, right? OI analyzer, so strike wise OI analyzer based on the time frame that you select. Okay, PCR analyzer, everything you're going to get to have the in-depth analysis of FnO. Okay, one more thing is I missed for the equity traders, that is the script details. So I've gone into Reliance and script details. Okay, so here you get so many tabs. For example, overview, it will have the technical indicators and everything. Events, if there are some events lined up for that particular company. Okay, technical analysis, SWOT analysis. So this is especially for the investors, right? So whenever you're going to think about any investment through the equity participation, you can go through these pages. This can give you a lot of understanding about any company. Okay, you can see the trend analysis, peer comparison, everything. Financials, mutual MF holdings, mutual fund holdings, whatever funds that are holding that particular stock, you can see it. If there are any news, right, what is the company bio, everything you can see it into the script details. So for equity participants, if you're interested for equity, if you're interested for FnO, we have so many important and useful features on this particular platform. Now I'll also show you what all we have on the InvestRight app as well. Okay. And one more thing, if you do not have derivative privilege yet, okay, so to participate into FnO, we must have a derivative privilege. So how do we activate it? I'll show you in the InvestRight app as well. Okay. So just give me a second. I'll be sharing my mobile screen. Just a minute. Sharmila ma'am, can you confirm if you can see my screen?
Yes. Yes,
Okay,
Sonali.
thank you. Thank you, ma'am. So, participants, you can see my mobile screen. Okay, this is the InvestRight app. Okay, so uh, all the other things like orders and positions I'll show you. First, I'll take you through if we do not have the derivative privilege, then what do we do? So this is the dashboard, right? I'm going into the profile section. So you can see the profile initials. I'm clicking on it and I'm scrolling little bit down. Okay. And you can see the privileges section over here. So first is FnO privilege. So if you slide it on the right hand side, it will take you through a very small journey. You don't have to upload any documents as such. Okay, it will be done through just one OTP, whatever bank you have connected in your trading account. All right, the same bank's OTP will come to you, and you can share it on that portal. All right, and it will fetch your details of your like manually. What you have to do, you have to either upload your 6 months bank statement or your ITR, or like those details. So what it checks your worth. So here from the back end, we are checking it internally. You don't have to really upload any documents over here. With just one OTP, we can actually activate the FnO privilege. It's less than a minute work. Okay, so if you don't have the FnO privilege yet, you can access it over here into the InvestRight app and you can activate it. Okay, so T plus 2 days it will be activated in your account once you finish this particular journey. All right, now I'm going towards the dashboard again. Now, on the dashboard, we can see the details like portfolio value and everything. We have the entry points to multiple important sections like IPO, research, like global investing, basket investing, and everything. You can explore it later. Okay. Now, a few important things, right? We get some of the good screeners over here on the downside for equity and derivatives. Okay, you can explore it. Now, if you want to place the orders from the app, what do we do? You can always search the contracts here. Okay, this is one way. Another way, you can maintain your watch list. Okay, you can see at the bottom bar, you can see the watch list. I clicked over there and we can add the contracts over here. Okay, so let's see first for the equity. So let's say if I want to add SBI, okay, I can do it. Right, this is how we can actually add any of the contracts, right, or the stocks, you can say. So if we want to place order into it, we can we can access the charts like this. So all the entry points we can get, right, like this. We can access the charts and everything. Okay, we can access the option chain like this. Okay, right, we can access the script details, market depth, everything. It is handy. Okay, let's say now I want to place the order. So all the other details that we had seen on the web portal, everything remains same. So I'll not be explaining everything, and we can just review by order, for example, right? And we can place the order by reviewing. All right, so easy. Now, if you want to place the order into FnO, what do? We can, of course, search the contract and place the order. But we have also have this particular special options watch list. Okay, so just beside the watch list button, you can see these options on the top. I clicked over there. So here you don't have to keep adding various strike prices. Okay, so whatever index I'm choosing over here, let's say Nifty, Bank Nifty, whatever, okay, we can choose it from here. So let's say I have chosen Nifty. I want to access some of the calls of Nifty right now. Okay, and we can also choose the expiry date that we are going for, right? And we can see various strike prices for a selected underlying. All right, and I can just tap on it. I can access all other things like market depth chart, option chain, everything, right? If I want to place the order, I can just go to the order pad, and just as we had seen into the web portal, we can place the order. Everything, all the details remain same over here. All right, so this is how we can place the orders. Okay, so once we place the orders, where it will go, you can see on the bottom, you can see the orders page right here. Our open, close, and GTT orders will be open. If your orders are executed, which means now your position is open. So we can go into the positions page, and here you will see all your FnO positions. Okay, into portfolio you will see all your holdings. All right, so all your all the equity and FnO people, now you know where to see your positions, correct? So this is basically for your equity and FnO, basic, like how to place the order and how to activate your derivative privilege and everything. Now one more part. So let's say that you need assistance while deciding where to place orders, right? So in that case, our research team comes into the picture. So we have the research team who is experienced in their field. So you can say there are many team members who are more than 2 decades old into the market, right? So that kind of quality we have into the research team. So you can see the research tab on the bottom. I'm clicking over here. So first of all, you can access the reports that we get from the research team. In-depth research reports you can access over here on the top. Okay, now you can also access the whatever calls that they are giving. Okay, it can be for equity, it can be for FnO, right? So you can see live calls, stocks 30 live calls, FnO 2 live calls, like that. Okay, if you let's say click over here, you can get the call details as well, right? Like this you can get. Okay, you can explore the page. You will get all the details like open calls, what is the target percentage and everything. All the details you can find over here, right? You can see what is added today, what is positional calls making profit, what is the percentage and everything. Even details about our research experts, everything you can find on this page. Okay, so this is basic about our equity FnO offerings and our platforms that we have on the mobile app and on the web portal. Now Sharmila ma'am, I've added the insights from my side. Now I think we can open for the Q&A. If they have any queries or expectations, or they want to understand anything, we can open the floor. So participants, if you have any questions, you can put down into the chat box, and we can answer that.
Yeah, thank you, Sonali. That was really informative, and I hope our participants here would have gained some bit of knowledge. Now, this session was a basic understanding of futures and options. For people who are already into futures and options, and have done one or two trades and want to do an advanced course, we definitely have some one of these sessions for people who would like to know more in depth about the advanced features of futures and options. And Sonali, I hope we would get an opportunity to do that. So
Definitely.
I would request anyone having questions, I would request them to put it in the chat box. We have a chat box down there. So we'll quickly take up some questions here. I would request everyone, anyone having any questions, any doubts, would like to know something, please put in your questions into the chat box. The chat box is available down uh, on the below side of your screen. So, Dali, one thing which I wanted to, just check with you is if you
Hmm.
could give the full form of GTD that you had mentioned, so that I'm sure people would know, but just, to re-emphasize what is the full form of GTD and how does it work? I think that if you could take it up once again, Sonali.
Okay, sure. So my screen is still visible, right?
Yes.
Okay. So GTD is something similar to that is common into industry as GTT, good till triggered. So we call it good till date. Okay. So the logic behind this order is that let's say that there is some current price that is going on. Okay. But I want my order, be it entry or if I want to book certain of my holding at, some future price that is not right now, or I don't know when that price will come, but I cannot monitor the price at every point of time, right? So I can place this particular GTD order and I can give a date to the system till when this order would be valid. Okay, so this is the maximum date will be chosen by default by the system, but I want this to be valid till only, let's say, 1st of June. Okay, so I can set a date. And right now, we have taken the example of SBI. Okay, so right now the price is 776, but I want to enter in this particular stock at, let's say, 650. Okay, or let's say 700. All right, so I can put that particular price over here and I can place this order, GTD order. All right, and this order will be open till 1st of June. Okay, or till it becomes executed one. Okay, when it will be executed, when my criteria will be met. All right, so if this particular price, if the stock comes to 700 till the date I've chosen, okay, anytime, then my order will be executed. All right, so until your order is executed or the last date that you have selected, till that time your order will be valid. Okay, so if you have certain criterias in terms of price and you do not want to monitor the screen all the time, then these orders will be best suitable for you. So you can place the GTD orders for entering into the position of any of the holdings, or if you have any of the holdings and you want to exit from that. Okay, but right now let's say that I have SBI. Okay, I don't want to exit at 775, I want to exit it at 800. So I can place that order, and whenever the 800 will come, my holdings will be sold at that price. So I'm basically setting a criteria over there. Okay, so these are the positional kind of orders. Okay, so this will not be cancelled at the end of the day, like we have any other orders cancelled if not executed, right? So this will be a kind of a positional order. Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah. So, Nani, so that is good till date. Just if you could clarify what is the time frame, like, for how many days is this good till date order section available? I mean,
Yeah.
is for 1 year, 45 days,
No,
60 days.
it is T plus 39 days, so a total of 40 days.
It's a 40-day, whether it is a buy or a sell. So if you
Yes,
want to
yes.
buy something, you place the order which is available. If it gets executed, you can do that. Sonali, one more thing, in case if you do have say a sell order, and if, do you have the option to place a stop loss also along with that particular sell order, good till date?
Yes, we can do that. If we have a position already and if we choose the stop loss order for the GTD, we can do that.
Okay, great. I don't see any questions. I hope Sonali, your explanation was wonderful. I think people have just understood it at the first go. Since we don't have any questions, we would like to end this particular webinar session here. And I hope this session would have given you, quite a bit of understanding of your equity and futures and options, I would request everyone, since you've just opened an account and you've paid for this particular account, I would request everyone to try place an order here, either into equity or into futures and options, as per your risk appetite and as per your liking of a particular product. And we would be glad to have some more sessions like this. We would also like you to share us some feedback about this session on customer care at the rate hdfcsec.com. Your feedback would be very welcome. And thank you, Sonali, and thank you everyone for joining in. It was wonderful interacting with you.
Thank you
Okay,
so
I
much.
think we have a question. Okay, they want to know whether this recording would be available. In fact, we will have this particular session uploaded on YouTube. It is live on YouTube at the moment. So anyone wanting to see this particular session can go to the YouTube section and put in the punchline. They will see the recording over there. Uh, Let me see any more questions. No, I don't think there are any more questions, Sonali. So thank you, Sonali, for your time, and thank you everyone for spending some time with us. And it was wonderful, giving you a session on equity and FnO. And thank you everyone, and everyone have a wonderful day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Sharmila ma'am.